In the far future, say a century or two from now, which of today's competing technologies will people celebrate as classic and continue to use, translated across generations of new hardware and software, perhaps even preferring it to more innovative technologies? On the other hand, which current favorites will fall into complete obscurity in half that time? In Module 5, we surveyed Beethoven's position in Viennese society. In this module, we examine more closely his place within the particular subculture of pianists and consumers of piano music. We will refine the vague notion of playing the piano to identify several different specific activities that Beethoven and his contemporary musicians would distinguish at the keyboard: improvising, composing, and setting, or in the original German, fantasieren, komponieren, and setzen. We will also take a closer look at the piano's evolution during Beethoven's lifetime. As you heard Professor Levin explain in Module 1, the piano was a comparatively new and rapidly evolving technology during the time of Mozart and Beethoven. The original piano was invented by Bartolomeo Cristofori around 1700, when J.S. Bach was just a teenager. But it took more than half a century for this new keyboard instrument to catch on. It was only in the 1760s, when Mozart was a boy, that the piano began to eclipse its predecessor, the harpsichord. Today, the piano's size, shape, and sound are effectively standardized, but in the decades around 1800, there was no such consensus. When I used the word evolution previously, I mean it in the full sense, including a lot of random mutation and an entire field of selection pressures. In Beethoven's lifetime, piano makers experimented widely in materials and design, leading to a tremendous variety, not just in the way different musicians would play, but even in the way different pianos would sound. Take the case of Muzio Clementi, a contemporary of both Mozart and Beethoven. Clementi not only played pianos and composed for them, but also owned a firm that manufactured them to his unique design. If you hear Clementi's music played on a modern piano, it sounds terribly disappointing, and it's hard to believe that he was once considered a rival of Mozart. If you hear his music played on a typical piano from circa 1800, it sounds passable, but still, But if you hear Clementi's music played on a genuine Clementi piano with the proper unique damper mechanism, it sounds magical. And then you realize how our notions of comparative genius and talent don't exist as platonic ideals in the abstract. Instead, they are heavily contingent on specific, concrete, mechanical circumstances and technologies. Turning to Beethoven's music, in this module we will take the ideas introduced briefly in the context of Beethoven's 5 variations in D major on Ruhr Britannia, Werke ohne Opus 79, and explore them in more depth with 2 of his great middle period piano sonatas. One in C major, Opus 53, nicknamed the Waldstein Sonata, and the other in F minor, Opus 57, nicknamed the Appassionata. We will pay particular attention to Beethoven's handling of the first movement Sonata Allegro formal template, and the way that he not only expands his development sections to match the length of the exposition and recapitulation sections, but also allows the ideas and processes of a development section to colonize the coda, so that what was once a comparatively perfunctory, formulaic conclusion becomes a protracted, intense musical drama in its own right.